Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a first date where the guy is late, interrupts you, drives around completely lost, actually tells you to shut up.
Yeah.
And then you have to remind him to hug you goodbye. Sounds like an absolute disaster, right?
Absolutely. Like run for the hills territory.
Well, believe it or not, for one person in our sources, that exact train wreck of a first date, it led to marriage. 12 years and 1 kid later.
No way. Seriously.
Yeah. Apparently he even forgotten they had the date planned for like 2 months. But he eventually apologized, said he was just super nervous, asked for a do-over, and yeah, became their sort of quirky origin story.
That's incredible. It just shows, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
So on this deep dive, we're going to peel back the layers, try and figure out what truly makes a desirable first date. We've got a whole stack of sources here, real experiences, some wild anecdotes, and just really diverse perspectives.
Yeah.
Our mission today is basically to pull out the most important bits of wisdom, give you a shortcut, maybe, to navigating those first impressions with a bit more insight.
And what's fascinating looking through all this is how different the answers are yet. These common threads definitely emerge. We're not talking about some, rigid instruction manual for dating.
Right.
It's more like looking at this complex, nuanced tapestry of human connection. And it raises a really important question, I think. In a world that's just full of rules about dating, what actually resonates when you first meet someone?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? So let's start with the basics, the stuff that feels like, well, non-negotiable, the things almost everyone seemed to agree on. Beyond just, basic human decency, what really stood out?
Okay, yeah. Almost universally, number one was genuine interest, and specifically active listening. Really listening.
Not just waiting for your turn to talk.
Exactly. One source literally said, don't just ask a question, then wait for your own turn to answer. And, our deep dive showed this isn't just about being polite. People see it as a real window into someone's character.
Yep.
Sources talked about radical and caring active listening, like actively fighting that urge to just fill the silence, letting the other person actually reveal themselves.
Which is so different from just nodding along.
Totally. It means asking follow-up questions, showing you're actually trying to understand them, their experiences, not just, sizing them up. And the phones. Big no-no.
Oh yeah, that came up a lot.
Huge turnoff. Such a contrast to stories like that amazing 12-hour date where they just talked and talked because they were so engaged.
Wow, 12 hours.
Right. And being mentally present, it means actually adding something to the conversation, engaging with what's being said, not just like one-word answers or a shrug.
Something that really jumped out at me from the sources was how often it wasn't just about how you treat your date, but everyone else. What did you see there?
Oh, absolutely. That's a massive point. The consensus wasn't just be nice to your date. It was how do you treat the waiter, the person holding the door, even strangers you pass on the street.
Right, the little interactions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People see that as a direct, kind of unbiased reflection of your actual character. Maybe even more revealing than how you treat the date directly.
Yeah, when your guard is down a bit.
Precisely. We saw it again and again. Be kind to everyone we encounter. Especially being polite to service staff. That was huge. Someone mentioned things like holding doors for strangers, being polite, smiling at strangers. As key indicators, it tells you about their core values.
And it makes that other story you mentioned earlier even more stark.
Oh, the rude friend example. Yeah, criticizing tattoos, calling someone blind for wearing glasses, fat when they're trying to lose weight, talking about happy ending massages at the table. That's just...
On the pale, red flags everywhere.
Flashing red lights, exactly.
So why does this stuff that feels like it should be the bare minimum, why does it matter so much on a first date?
Well, I think it comes down to discerning character, doesn't it? How someone treats others, especially those they don't need anything from, is often a pretty reliable predictor of how they'll treat you down the line.
Ah, okay, so it connects to long-term compatibility.
Exactly. It shows respect, empathy.
Yeah.
The fundamental building blocks of any healthy relationship, really. It's like a shortcut to understanding who they really are underneath it all.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we have those foundations, listening, kindness to everyone. What about the stuff that makes a date more memorable? Personality, the vibe.
Right, moving beyond the basics. Positivity and humor came up a lot. General positivity is a big one.
So less complaining about your terrible boss on date one.
Probably a good idea, yeah. Avoid complaining about family, offloading major personal dramas right away. Instead, people really appreciate it, like light, dry humor, even a risky one-liner if it lands well. can create a really great, memorable moment.
And laughing at their jokes too, right? Showing you connect.
Definitely. That rapport is key. And someone mentioned how just having a happy face when you tell a joke makes it more charming, more likely to land. It shows you're enjoying yourself.
I also found it really interesting how many people talked about authenticity. What does that actually mean for, someone listening who's about to go on a date?
Yeah, what does that look like? I think it means being yourself, basically. Even if you're a bit nerdy or have quirky interests, don't try to be someone you're not.
Be honest about what you love.
Exactly. Because, as multiple sources said, seeing someone gush about something they're interested in is really attractive.
Okay.
We saw that contrast, right? The person talking passionately about nerdy stuff versus the person who only talked about working out.
Which someone called the worst experience of my life. Ouch.
Yeah, exactly. Authenticity even covers charming awkwardness. Showing up with your shirt inside out by accident, but owning it. Saying, I actually tried to look good for you. Or that story about accidentally saying love you on a first date.
And they ended up engaged. Wild.
It is. It shows, as one person put it, a little vulnerability. And that can be really appealing. It's human.
Okay, and what about planning? Initiative.
Yes. The desire for someone with a plan. Often phrased, maybe a bit stereotypically, as a man with a plan. But the core idea applies broadly.
Someone who takes the lead a bit.
Yeah. One person called it their unicorn. Someone who said, okay, we'll go here for drinks and apps, and then this place because I saw a band was playing. It shows thought.
And even better if it's tailored to the other person's interests, right?
Absolutely. That shows real attentiveness, like that food truck festival date example. Comfortable, easy to manage payment, shared experience, way more memorable than just another dinner.
Or the person who ordered multiple things to share.
Yes. Thoughtful, attentive, served the wine and gave off this confident, he knows what he wants vibe. It was apparently very attractive. Shows initiative and consideration.
Okay, so those are some positives, but it's not all straightforward, is it? There are definitely some gray areas, especially around expectations. Things like who pays or physical stuff.
Definitely nuanced territory.
Yeah.
Let's talk about paying the bill first.
Yeah.
The views were all over the place. Some really appreciate the gesture of someone offering to pay, even if they earn more. They see it as thoughtful. But others were very clear. Offering to pay is gracious. It's also antiquated, and going Dutch is fine too.
So no single right answer.
Not at all. Many preferred splitting or paying for themselves. Some even saw insisting on paying as a yellow flag, like maybe controlling. Or just sticking to stupid rules.
So flexibility seems key.
Yeah, exactly. Be considerate, be flexible, don't make it a weird power struggle. Just figure it out like adults.
Okay, now for maybe the trickiest area, physicality and boundaries. This seemed like a place where things can go wrong fast.
Absolutely critical, and the sources were very clear here. Respecting autonomy is paramount. If someone says no to a drink, you don't buy it anyway, you don't push for a reason why.
That seems basic, but apparently
it needs saying. Some sources described finding it genuinely disturbing how quickly some men try to push physical boundaries, like within minutes.
Yeah, that's concerning.
And that one really stark example, being declined and responding with, come on now, honey, you're hardly going to sleep with me sober. Just awful.
Unbelievable.
So the general feeling was clear. Don't try anything physical too soon. Keep your stuff in your pants, especially if you're actually looking for something serious.
But we also heard the flip side, right? From a male perspective.
We did. Feeling uncomfortable with intimacy on a first date, maybe wanting to take it slow, but then being perceived as not interested.
Which highlights the need for communication.
Exactly. Clear communication, but also reading signals attentively. Like that other story where one partner recognized flirting as just a strong spark, not necessarily an immediate green light for intimacy. It's about calibration.
Reading the room, not just following a script, which kind of links to confidence versus nervousness, doesn't it? Another fine line.
It really is. And what's interesting here is how nervousness can actually be kind of charming. Counterintuitive, maybe.
As long as they can still talk.
Right. A little nervousness can be a good sign. Shows they care, as long as they can still engage in the conversation. Remember that opening story? The train wreck date? Maybe a lot of that was nerves.
And it still worked out in the end.
Exactly. It shows vulnerability can be okay. On the other hand, overly confident people, sometimes, well, they can come across as thinking very highly of themselves, maybe not focused on connection.
So a bit of nervousness, proportionate nervousness, can actually be a positive signal. Sincerity.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It connects back to that advice. Act confident in your actions and words, sure, but don't try too hard. Don't put on some hyper-masculine or hyper-feminine persona that isn't you. Be real.
Okay, this is all painting a really interesting picture. So how do we pull this all together? What's the big picture, the kind of mindset for dating success based on all this?
Well, connecting it all. I think the sources suggest moving away from seeing a date as like a performance or trying to seal a deal.
Right.
It's more like planting seeds, tending a garden, focusing on creating a connection that makes you both want a next meeting. Embracing excitement for the potential future, but also just enjoying the present moment.
Less pressure, more exploration.
Exactly. Stay relaxed, be agile. If you say something awkward, don't dwell on it. Just refocus on the other person. It's an exploration, not an audition.
I like that. It reinforces that idea that there's no magic recipe, right? Everyone's different.
Totally. It's about finding someone you just click with. Someone who takes your energy and bounces it straight back, as one source put it. Finding that compatible wavelength.
Personality fits, similar values, that's what matters long term.
Yeah. And it loops back beautifully to that first story, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How even a bunch of mistakes don't necessarily sink things if there's genuine interest and that willingness for a do-over. Perfection isn't the goal.
Connection is?
Connection is. Which naturally leads to the question, what happens when it doesn't click?
Yeah, what then?
Well, the wisdom seems to be that dating, especially early on, shouldn't feel like constant hard effort or leave you feeling exhausting. If it does, maybe you're trying too hard or it's just not the right fit.
It should flow more.
Ideally, yeah. Almost like a dance, someone said. Smooth. So the advice is often to focus on yourself, on your own life. Don't be outcome dependent.
Meaning, don't pin all your happiness on whether the date works out?
Exactly. Have friends, have hobbies, have things that fulfill you regardless. Then, if a date doesn't lead anywhere, it's disappointing, sure, but your world doesn't fall apart.
That sounds much healthier.
It is.
Yeah.
And it accepts the reality, as one source put it so well. People are odd little creatures.
Yeah.
We all have different wants and needs, and not everyone is compatible. All we can do is be kind and communicate.
So, summing up this whole deep dive then, it seems like active, genuine listening, kindness that extends beyond the date, thoughtful planning, and just being your authentic self. These things count way more than sticking to some rigid set of dating rules. And remember, like our opening story showed, sometimes even the awkward, imperfect beginnings can lead somewhere amazing, while the dates that look perfect on paper might just fizzle.
So true. Which leaves us with a final thought, perhaps. If the real goal isn't just to impress someone or seal a deal, but actually to explore connection and create a shared experience, what's one simple, authentic action you could take on your next first date? Something that truly reflects who you are, rather than who you think you should be.
Something to ponder. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep being brilliantly well-informed.